Hey guys, I'm here with Andre Meadows.
Hi, I'm Andre Meadows. I'm a proud, certified black nerd.
And throughout my journey of being a Gremlins fan, I think I've come across the one person who might actually at least be at my level, if not higher, in terms of being a Gremlins fan.
Oh, man.
And so I think for the last 2 years, I've wanted to sit you down and actually talk Gremlins with you, and we've finally gotten that chance to do that.
Let's do it. I love that.
So I don't know exactly where this video is going to go.
Yeah.
But
it's going to be all Gremlins.
Yeah, it's going to be Gremlins.
Gremlins all the time.
I actually really wanted to do it in the theater room with actually having Gremlins playing on that screen behind us, but I just couldn't get it to work.
Yeah.
So honestly, there's a lot of questions I have for you.
Okay.
I've never had a chance to ask you, so this is the perfect time for that.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of want to know, first and foremost, why are you such a huge Gremlins
Well,
fan?
Gremlins?
Yeah.
Well, Gremlins is an interesting story for me because I was originally afraid of them. I didn't want to watch the movie because I didn't see it in theaters. My first recollection of Gremlins was coming on HBO, and I remember being very intrigued by it because my mom, she used to work at like a manager at Hardee's, which is, I don't know if is it Carl's Jr. here?
Yeah, yes, I think it's the same.
Okay, see, on the East Coast it was Hardee's. So it was at the time they were making those books. You remember the Gremlins books, and they came with a record?
In fact, I got some today
Oh,
over there.
They're awesome. So I had those, but I would only read the first two because once it got to the Gremlin stuff, I got scared. And then I think I eventually sold them in a yard sale because I was just so afraid of them. But now, of course, I bought them on eBay for 10 times the amount that I had it before.
Of course.
But she brought those home from Hardee's, and so I had this thought about Gremlins, I'm interested in it, but I'm so scared of it. So when it came on HBO, I remember it used to come on sometimes on Saturday morning because they just would show the movie constantly. So I'd be watching the cartoons, and I would flip over. I'd see a Gremlin, I'd flip back.
So you had to ease yourself into it a little bit.
So oh yeah, those are the ones right there. Yes, these, The Gift of the Mogwai. Yep. So I believe I have all these again now, but in my collection somewhere. But yeah.
Have you actually listened to the records recently?
Yeah, not recently. I like to listen to them again. I remember listening to them when I was young. But yeah, I would get to literally look at this. You think about being a kid and you open up the first page of the book, and that's what you see right there. Gizmo freaking out, and it's giant. That's scary. I don't want that. So what happened is my mom saw the movie and was like, Andre, son, you shouldn't be afraid of this thing. So she forced me to watch it. It came on one night, and she was like, we're watching it. And I watched, that was the first time I saw Gremlins, and loved it. And I was just so enjoyed it, and I used to talk about it all the time. I remember I used to be at a daycare for a little bit, and I remember friend, an after school thing while my parents worked, and so I would talk about Ghostbusters, Gremlins, and Goonies all the time with my friends.
I sometimes
the
wonder
three
if
Gs we call it.
Yeah, I wonder if it's all in the same universe.
Yeah. Well, Goonies actually has a reference to Gremlins.
Yes, he's talking the sheriff.
The sheriff, he's tell me about the little monsters that multiply and put water on them. I was like, ah!
Yes.
So that was it, and then I was good. I loved it, watched it all the time, was a big fan, and I don't know what happened in my brain, but when Gremlins 2 came out, it all came back. Of that weird fear of it. And it was very strange. So I was afraid of seeing Gremlins 2 for a while, and I ended up seeing it on videotape, and that just was amazing. I just love that. But I also had the Gremlins 2 book, the novelization. The
novelization.
The novel.
No, I have the picture book, but not the novel.
I have the picture book now, but when I was a kid, I had the actual junior novelization of Gremlins 2, and it's really awesome because because in Gremlins 2, how in the movie how it breaks down.
Yes, in the middle. It's actually two different.
Yeah, the two different.
Middles,
that was the movie version with Hulk showing up, and then there's the videotape version where the tape breaks up and they start do the John Wayne thing. So in the book, they actually have where the brain gremlin just stops the book and just starts talking to you. The reader.
That's amazing. I gotta get this.
And it's really weird. And there's this part, for some reason they call him Mr. Glasses in the book, and he even mentions something about that. He's like, I'm the brain gremlin from the movie, although this book decides to call me Mr. Glasses. And I want to just talk to, I can't remember what exactly it was, but it was just, I think it was just something about his lifestyle or something like that.
So he totally breaks the fourth
he
wall.
breaks the fourth wall in the book.
And actually calls them out for naming him wrong.
Yeah.
That's
and then
great.
and then like the next chapter goes right back into it. I wish I could find it again because it was a really cool book. And apparently there's also a novelization of the first one too, but that's one of those things that I gotta remind myself to find again.
I've never had any experience with that. I never knew it existed.
I read the whole thing.
Yeah.
I read the whole thing, and then I remember when I finally watched the movie. I went to Blockbuster or actually Action Video, I think was ours. But went to Action Video and I rented the movie and the game at the same time. And so I would play the Gremlins 2 game and I watched the movie and just fell in love with the movie, loved the game, even though I could never beat it.
It still remains one of my top 10 favorite games on the NES.
Yeah.
And you're gonna hate me for this, but I can no death run it. I actually lied myself.
Really?
No death running it. Yes.
Oh wow.
It.
Wow.
Yes.
I gotta see that.
That's one of my proudest moments.
It's a hard game.
It is.
It's a very, very hard game.
It is. It's like, it makes you wonder actually who designed that office, with all these spikes and pits
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah, like what? Like people go to work in this all the time?
Exactly.
Well, the other thing that's crazy too is that you get continues, but if you continue, you lose everything. So like if you can build, because like the whole time you're building up, you're getting these extra balloons, you're getting, the firepower is getting stronger, so you're able to like shoot and it like goes in like 5 different directions.
That's key.
Yeah, you need that. But if you die and you just say, I don't want to continue, all that's gone. So it's like, well, now I'm on, the Mohawk machine gun level or the Mohawk spider gremlin level, but I don't have any of the stuff that I need.
Yeah. It's kind of like a shooter in that aspect.
Yeah.
Where if you die, you lose all your power.
Yeah, so it's like, it's best to not die.
One strategy I always felt was good is in really awful platforming situations, just get extra balloons. Dive off, have the balloons float you to safety.
Yeah.
Later on down the level, if there's one area that you can't get past,
Yeah.
sometimes that actually does help.
No, the balloons are good.
Yeah.
That's one of the best ones. And balloons and the multi-shoot, like the 3 paper clips, or when he gets the pencil fireball. Yeah, so it's great, man.
So, yeah, my first memory of Gremlins, I don't know if I even actually said this on camera or anything, but my very first memory of Gremlins was my parents. They never let me watch scary movies, but for whatever reason, they took me to watch Gremlins because my dad was like, "Oh, this looks amazing! I want to go watch it."
Yeah,
so I remember.
But Gremlins was very tricky in their advertising.
Dude, yes.
They really was. Well, I mean, even from the first, if you ever watch the trailers, which like, that's another thing about Gremlins. If you ever want to see a good trailer, the first Gremlins trailer is like perfect because they hit Gizmo, but don't show him. They show his hand. They show the part where like his hands come in the box. They still don't show him. You hear the sounds. So you're like, oh, cute. And then all of a sudden they go, but then they go through changes. And you hear the giggles of the gremlin. Yeah. But everything is always someone looking at one, someone looking at a distance. The only shot you really see of the Gremlins in the trailer is the part when they're running through the movie theater and you see like the backs of their heads like bouncing. That's it. So you're just like, wait, what is this? And then they never showed anything until the actual movie came out, which I just thought was genius. And so it was funny. And the funny was that people went in there thinking it was gonna be like E.T. and it's like, nope.
Well, it really made you curious, and that was the point. They drove that curiosity to see what the hell was going on. You wanted to go and watch it, and I think that's what my parents did. And you talk about scared. I was scared out of my mind.
Yeah.
I remember putting my feet. I can't do it now because my freaking legs are too long.
Yeah.
Put my feet up in the seat because I thought gremlins were gonna come out and start clawing my feet.
Yeah.
I was scared out of my absolute mind. And then for whatever reason, as a kid, I started just getting used to it and going, oh, Gremlins are awesome.
Yeah.
And then Gremlins 2 came out. I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
and then as an adult, I was like, I kind of just stopped, whatever, Gremlins is cool. But when DVD players started coming out, and I started looking on Amazon, you know what, there were some DVDs I can get. I want to get a DVD player and some DVDs. For whatever reason, Gremlins was like, popped up, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. Let me get it. It ended up being one of my first DVDs that I got, and when I watched it again, it was just like, sensory overload. I just remembered everything, and then just like I became obsessed with it.
Yeah,
absolutely became obsessed with it, and it remains to this day. Which is why I get fans of the show bringing me stuff like this.
Oh, that's great. Well, one of my big regrets was when I bought Gremlins on Blu-ray. I gave my DVD copy to a friend of mine, which is a bummer because the DVD copy still has the original poster with like the box and then Stripe popping out with the crayon.
Yeah.
Whereas the new ones now, it's like Gizmo with the shadow.
The new one. I don't like that.
I don't know why they did that.
Nuh-uh.
But do you have the 30th anniversary one?
The
with
new one.
Case and like the motion comic.
Yes. I already had the Blu-ray, but when that 30th came out, I had to have
it's
it.
Great. I got it. It's got a steel case. It's got extra. even more features on it. They got all the stuff that was on the original one, and then they added more like behind the scenes. So there's just a whole thing of like with Hoyt Axton, who played the dad, just like him just messing around with camera, which is kind of funny because it's almost like a vlog. It's like a YouTube life vlog in
really
1984. You know, because he's just like, I'm on the set. Here's the kid. He tells me the Mogwai. All right, here's Joe Dante. So it's really cool. And then they took one of the books and made like a motion comic out of it, which I was like, did they make it just for this, or was that somewhere else?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they only did like part of the story.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think one of the best aspects of the movie, and something I've always been intrigued by, is Joe Dante's absolute masterful blend of horror and comedy.
That's what made it work. I mean, that's the exact same thing. And that's what I worry about when it eventually gets remade. Is I think someone's not going to remember that part. But yeah, it is one of those movies, especially when you're watching it as a kid, that can like scare you, but make you laugh at the same time. You know, like these things, they're tearing up the city, people are getting hurt, you know, but then even when people are dying,
yes,
kind of in funny ways.
The best scene, in my opinion, is when the Santa Claus comes out and he's got all these gremlins on him, and the cop just rolls up the window.
That's so good, because it's like, it messes with your mind. It's like, wow, this guy's going through pain, but it's a bunch of gremlins on Santa Claus. It's hilarious. Or when they shoot Mrs. Deagle out of the freaking
absolutely.
Motorized
absolutely
seat.
One of my favorite scenes is she opens up the door and they're like,
yeah.
it's amazing.
It's so crazy. And then all of a sudden they're at the bar. They're like hanging out at the bar.
Dude, one of the most iconic scenes, man. That bar scene, man. I could seriously watch that movie on and on and on and on.
Oh yeah, there was a time period where I think I taped it off of TV, and I would just watch like that bar scene just alone before I like would go to school or something like that. And like, madness. And he's like, oh, break dancing and stuff.
I always thought the one that stuck out in my mind is like when the gremlins, you see these two little gremlins doing this stupid walk in the background, and the foreground is just one picking his nose.
Yeah, just look at his snot out. Yeah. It's just weird. And then there's that weird part where the guy's like in the gremlin's in the corner with the hat, boop-a-doo, and then that little puppet comes out. You're just like, what the hell's going on? But Joe Dante's a big Looney Tunes fan, and so that's where a lot of that humor was coming from.
You see that.
Definitely seen it in both movies.
And in the puppet work, my God, the puppet work is amazing. You don't see skills like that nowadays.
No, and I mean that was a lot to take. I mean, any documentary, any talk you hear from them, they always talk about like how constantly things broke down or how it took a long time. Because the way they make that movie, for those that don't know, is that they shot they did all the principal photography first. So anything that needed a puppet with humans in it, they got. But all the stuff with the gremlins themselves was all shot later. So there was literally like maybe a month or 2 months of shooting their stuff, and then just like long agonizing weeks of dealing with puppets and stuff. So it's pretty crazy. I can see why if Joe Dante was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this again, which with Gremlins 2, that's why it took so long. Like,
that's actually what I was going to segue into a little bit, was how do you feel Gremlins 2 compared to Gremlins 1?
Gremlins 2 is great. It's a sequel. Well, what's funny is it's great, and it's very ahead of its time. And it's just overall, it's just a satire about sequels.
It is.
And and because that's the thing, when you think of most sequels, what is the deal? It's like, well, we did a story. What else can we can do the entire story again, which most sequels, that is exactly what they do.
Right.
So I think that there was that whole like, well, let's just go over the top. And so that's really funny. But in the same time, it did create some new things, like the whole genetic gremlins idea.
It's amazing.
It's a great idea, because it's like now you got to make these variety of gremlins. You got to do it, and even just giving some of the gremlins different personalities, like the one, like Daffy and Lenny and George. Yes, they actually have names.
Yes, they do.
They don't say them in the movies, but it's been canon.
Ultra nerds here.
Yeah. Mohawk, and then Greta is the female gremlin. But yeah, like they that was a really neat concept. But I just love that it's a movie that you can love for a different reason. But I totally see why I don't think it did well when it came out.
I don't think
and
people understand that,
I totally get it. I totally why it wasn't a 1990 movie. For sure.
I've actually probably seen part 2 more than part 1.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you have something that happens in a story that's so unique. Like you get this creature, you have to follow these rules. The rules get broken, the creatures run amok in the story. It's hard to do that again in a serious manner. Yeah. So it was honestly smart of them to just kind of make fun of the whole thing. I mean, take the guy in the control room of Clamp Tower, and he's going, but what he's got something stuck in his teeth.
Yeah.
You know, it's always midnight somewhere. They're making fun of the movie.
Yeah.
Almost in a way breaking the fourth wall.
Oh yeah, no, there was a lot of that.
And then all the gremlin of course pops out, and it really goes to show you that they just went into this movie wanting to have fun with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I watched the commentary on it, and yeah, they basically were like, Joe Dante was like, if you want me to do this, I don't want any notes, basically. Like, he got to do a lot of his stuff at free will, but that was sort of the trade-off because they were trying to get a second one made, and originally they didn't want to do it, and all this stuff. It's like an interesting story of him talking about it, because I guess in talking about that, he was saying that there were other ideas that they were pitching around before they made Gremlins 2. There was it talks about maybe a Gremlins in Vegas or a Gremlins in space. Or
Gremlins in space. Well, Leprechaun went to space.
Yeah,
Critters went to space.
I was like, when you hear it, you're like, these are all the Leprechaun plots.
You're gonna get Gremlins in the Hood.
Yeah,
Part 2.
Gremlins in the Hood and Back to the Hood.
So-
Yeah, no, if you listen, I think it's the end of Gremlins, the Gremlins 1 commentary. He talks about that, about like how there was all these things getting floated around. Eventually came back for 2. But yeah, man, I love Gremlins 2. I mean, like I it's a bummer that I know the NECA toy line has been trying to get a lot more stuff out, but it's a bummer that it's kind of slowed up a little bit because
Yeah,
there's so many different Gremlins that I would love them to make toys
You
out
are
of.
so good at segues. It's like when I'm thinking of the next subject, you automatically segue. And I was going to go into a little bit
Yeah.
about NECA and just your collection in general.
Oh,
what
yeah.
you do collect.
I have-
'Cause I absolutely love the NECA toys.
Oh yeah, I pretty much have all the Gremlins. I think I may have lost some of the accessories.
It's easy to do.
Those little
So,
cigars.
like
and,
Daffy's, his nose,
yeah,
and glasses.
that's
those
randomly
little-
somewhere.
yeah.
But I have all the base figures for sure. Thank you for the Mohawk, by the way. I did not have. It wasn't the current line, but like an
Yeah.
older line of just like, it was just like movie monsters.
Yeah, I think they released those like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, and I've always tried to find one, but thanks for that. But yeah, all the other one, I got all of the Gremlins. I got the Bat Gremlin, the Spider Gremlin. I got all the Mogwai, including the like prototype Mogwai that they ended up not using. Have you seen those?
Oh yeah, actually yes. Somebody actually got me one.
Yeah.
Now. I'm missing like one.
Yeah.
And I didn't get Haskins. I didn't Haskins.
Haskins
Another one that they didn't actually name in the movie, but has
Haskins is sweet.
Yeah.
Because I remember when they first show the Mogwai, there's just one Mogwai that's just
Yeah.
like,
a name. This one little guy, all fat.
yeah.
and
Everyone else is
chubby.
like looking around. He's just like, he literally's like, I'm gonna become a gremlin. I don't really know that. Name's Haskins, how you doing? You know, they think we all cute, but Haskins knows. No. So I love that they turned that into him, and yeah, they were just like, and that's why I love too. Nico was like, we made this one, and we're gonna call it Haskins. Why?
Cuz.
Because he didn't have a name, so we decided on Haskins. Yeah, but yeah, I have like the what is it, like brownie and
Brown
Zoe.
Gremlin. Mhm.
Yeah, which I think one of those is female, right?
I think it's Zoe, I think, or is
Yeah.
it the all white one that's?
Yeah.
No, and there's one that has like it almost looks like mascara, but there's little stripes right here like
Yeah.
that.
They're really good. They're really good figures.
Yeah.
It's neat for them to have all these different.
It would really be
ideas.
cool if like I don't know, Gremlins 3 maybe incorporated a few of those.
Yeah. But I would love for them to do they have the electric gremlin and but vegetable gremlin doesn't have a toy.
Vegetable Gremlin is the one that I want
That would
the
be
most.
sweet. Yeah.
And also like the alternate Gremlin, because I don't. A lot of people probably don't even know this, but
Yeah.
the Gremlins had 2 different models in terms of faces.
Yeah.
And the ones we got in NECA are the most common ones. But there's this other one, and the WB Gremlin is
Yeah.
a version of that. They have kind of just slight alterations to the face.
Yeah, they're a little
almost
flat.
like a little,
Yeah. Like the
Yeah.
eyes are a little like squishier.
a little dopier looking.
Yeah. But yeah, there's the one they were supposed to have that come out. I remember seeing the model of it, whereas the one where he gets the WB logo tattooed on his chest.
Yeah,
that would've been
and
nice.
the pods. And
Yeah.
there was also one where he was melting. There was like a Gremlin.
Oh yeah,
melting.
with did he have the Wizard of Oz hat
Yes.
on?
Yes.
Yeah. So I would love to do that, but yeah, I remember on their website or something they had said that the Mogwai were selling, but the Gremlins weren't.
Yeah, and I
It's a bummer.
tweeted Randy, and he's basically told me the same thing. It's just unfortunately the demand's not out there. So everyone watching this, go out
Buy
and
all the
buy
Gremlin
the
stuff.
Gremlin stuff
Get
on
it.
NECA.com.
Yeah.
Just get it. Go
Yeah.
straight from them. And it's one of those things where you know, if a company's not getting the support that it needs, it's not going to have the product
Yeah,
out there. So
that's
you have
with
to really show our
anything.
support.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
So if you like any of that stuff, go out and get it.
If there's something that you like, you kind of have to pay for it to keep it going.
Yeah.
But they just do really good. I just love finding any Gremlins merchandise, particularly if you can find Gremlins. But what I hear is that Japan apparently has a lot of like import stuff that you can get, because like I have a giant stripe. Like a giant striped statue, like a metal, like or not metal, but like die-cast statue.
Is he holding candy?
Holding the candy and stuff.
I got that in
same
SoCal.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that at Frank & Son out in Cali, but that was an import from Japan. And then someone showed me that there's a nice, like, good-sized stripe that's just like a, just a standard,
I haven't seen that one.
figure. Yeah, one of my friends had it in their office, and I was like, "What is that?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's from Japan." I've seen it online, but I think there's different ones. I'm trying to find that specific one.
And of course, if I can ever find anything like 1984, the year 1984 when the movie came out, whether it be like a cup. Or a figure back then, or just anything with like because they had really good art. I know Melvor just goes crazy about this thermos that I have for the lunchbox. He just loves the Gremlins
see, I have the
drawing on
lunchbox, but I don't have the thermos. That's a bummer, but I had to get the lunchbox.
Gotta get the thermos for that.
New York Comic Con last year, I found Gizmo in his car. Like it's a giant, like it's a big one. You probably see, if you look at it in my videos, you'll see it in the background. But it's a big pink car, and his head turns in it, and it looks really cool. And that's an original from '84.
Yeah, I loved all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man, but yeah, it was good stuff, man. It's a good movie franchise.
It is. I mean, and that leads me kind of the last subject that I want to talk about. And as all franchises go, sometimes there's a reboot.
Yeah.
And what do you think is going to happen? Because I know Zach Galligan, who plays Billy, he is hashtag all the time, Gremlins 3.
Yeah,
make it happen.
Mogwai Monday.
Yes, so
I met him, by the way.
I've got to meet him. Like, I think he's coming to Austin. He's coming to Austin.
Go meet him. He is great, man. He's a cool guy, and he's definitely all about Gremlins. And it was great to meet him because his idea and what I was thinking about Gremlins were kind of in the same realm. So I was just like, dude, yes. And it's nice because when I just saw the poster over here for Pixels, I remember someone had interviewed Chris Columbus, and the subject came up, and he said that now they're kind of there's thoughts process in place, but he said they kind of had like a new mindset to it, because originally they were this thinking straight up remake, completely redo it. But he said something about, it was either Jurassic World or Star Wars.
I think it was Star Wars.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
It might have been, because I was kind of, at that time I was like, I know Jurassic World, when it come out,
maybe it was both.
Maybe it might have been, but I know it was at least one of those, if not both. But he said that like watching that and seeing how they were like, hey, here's new movie, but still old thing existed, is now gave him a good idea for what Gremlins could possibly
You
be.
can do both, and that's where the new Ghostbusters got it wrong.
Yeah.
Where you can have something
Same
new
universe.
for a new audience, but still be in that universe, and don't say that the stuff that happened didn't happen.
So I think it could easily be child of Billy. It could be a whole new owner that Gizmo got. But so the thing is, so much time has passed, so you can definitely fill that gap with something. Maybe there's even another Mogwai. Who knows? It's just like, but I feel like being able to do that, and I'm totally about like, how do we handle this? We got to bring back the expert, and Zach Galligan gets to make his cameo. It's like all there. And what, like you said, what it does is it makes a brand new story, but it doesn't negate that the other two movies have happened. But it's really hard because, like, with Gremlins 2 being as silly as it was, how do you then kind of revert back a little bit to being a little bit scary as well as funny?
I had kind of like I did literally just pop up in my head, but I remember his dad making the comment, there's going to be, one of them in every home. Yeah. So what if like some corporate guy sees what Gizmo is, and he's like, business idea, boom, boom, boom. I'm going to mass produce this, and puts him on an assembly line, and little drop of water makes another one, and there's assembly line, and of course everything gets fucked up. I've written a couple. I don't have them anymore, but I remember back in the day I used to just like write stories and stuff in my notebooks, and I think I've written a couple of like
Gremlins 3 ideas or Gremlins Fanfiction or something like that. So I thought about that. So something similar to that. I had
maybe that's why it popped in my head, because maybe you were telling some ideas when we were talking in SoCal.
Maybe. Well, I remember I specifically wrote one where I kind of reversed it a little bit. So instead of few Mogwai become gremlins, multiply gremlins, I think it read something where it was like multiple Mogwai. So it's like a bunch of Mogwai that were like in a mall or something like that. And then they all eat after midnight. So you're just starting off the bat with everyone's hatching new gremlins. So maybe that can be how it is. It's like somebody be like, this is the brand new pet. And everyone
they genetically modify it so they'll turn into gremlins. They can eat after midnight.
Or they think they did.
Yes.
We totally fixed it. We get Bryce Dallas Howard comes in with her. We're like, after the Indominus Rex, we figured out how to make Mogwai not be gremlins. And everyone's like, yeah, sure. But then something triggers, and then it's like, nope, never mind. Now it's not after midnight. It's like now after 10:45. Now they're good. You
gotta watch out.
Yeah. But there was that. I remember written one. I think I wrote one time where I said like, the bat gremlin that gets in the stone. Like I think I had written an idea of like the bat gremlin breaks out of the stone. And Greta is still alive at the end.
Uh-oh.
So they like come together, make some gremlin love, and then we finally have baby gremlin. And then I just thought they were just little gremlins with but running around.
They're so adorable. I guess I want to see this happen now.
But then they make me a little bit cuter, so that way they would sell like the Mogwai. But they're just they're baby gremlins.
Of course.
Yeah, man.
I don't see how you can top that.
Yeah. But there was supposed to be a cartoon at one point.
Okay. Back in '84?
Yeah, so when Gremlins 2 came out, I remember I think it was Pizza Hut, I got this magazine. It was like a Warner Brothers, like just promotional magazine for kids. And it's one of those things like, it's a prize for kids, but it's really just promotion for them. But there was a big article about Tiny Toon Adventures, because that was coming out. It was a big article with Spielberg. But I remember there was a passage in there, they were talking about, here's all these cartoons coming out. They mentioned Beetlejuice and Tiny Toons, and then they wrote Gremlins. And I was like, what? But it never happened. And then I've been searching online, and I guess there was a pilot that I don't know if it ever became fully animated, but there was an idea for Gizmo and the Gremlins as like an animated series.
I want to see
Gremlins
that. I want to see that.
Gremlins 2.
I want to see that story.
Yeah, I would love. It's like there's no materials out there at all.
Ooh.
But I remember that being in a magazine. And
I'm sure you've just gone crazy trying to research it.
I would love to know it, man. It'd be so great. Well, it was crazy. I met there was a friend that I had known for a little bit who used to work in like the Warner Brothers home division department. So like a lot of any of the Warner Brothers merchandise would come through. So it was like my little sometimes inside contact for what Gremlin stuff, because that's why I would know about when Gremlin stuff was coming out.
Oh, dude, that's amazing.
So
that's
it was
awesome.
really cool. But yeah, there's a lot more. I mean, there's some stuff that's hard to find, but there's a lot of crazy stuff out there. And like my friend found a Gremlins paper. Remember the old things you used to get in school where you'd have like, it's like a little packet, it was a zipper at the top, and you put like your pencils and your pencil sharpener. Like I got a Gremlins one of those.
Okay.
Yeah, and stuff like that, and like a Gremlins pillow, a Gremlins like bath towel or something, which is funny.
It's like why would that exist?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, but yeah, I'd be very curious to see it. The only thing that's going to be weird, of course, is seeing Gremlins in CGI, because it's going to happen.
It's no way around it. Not these days.
Yeah, I would love to see them do some kind of mix, do CGI when you got to do something really crazy. But if you're going to have like a nice close-up shot, go practical.
That would be the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I just fear that because of the way movie making is nowadays, it's all going to be CG.
It's all CGI, all CG Gremlins. Like anytime I watch, like there's which Harry Potter was it when like they had the little pixie things and they all got loose in the school in the blue pixies?
One.
The first
one,
was that the first one or the okay? There was like these little blue pixies and they were like flying. They were like, your task is to catch them all, and they're just flying around and the whole time they're going. I was like, oh, that's Gremlins right there. That's what Gremlins would look like if it was CGI. So it's coming. I feel it. I just feel it coming.
Hopefully it'll happen, and maybe, I don't know, maybe something crazy will happen.
Yeah.
And we'll get the Gremlins that we want.
Hopefully.
Who knows? We sit there and with our fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed.
Thank you so much.
This
I
was
really
great.
wanted to talk to you about this.
Oh man. It's one more thing I have to tell you about. Though.
Yes.
I also used to use Brain Gremlin's speech as a monologue for auditions.
Okay, we have to end it on that. Absolutely. Can we get a pan over on the camera?
Oh man.
And maybe even like a really slow zoom in.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd always start with like, creature, what is it you want? Fred, what we want is, I think, what anyone wants, what you and your viewers have. Civilization. The niceties, Fred, the fine points. Diplomacy, compassion, standards, manners, tradition. That's what we're reaching toward. Or we may stumble along the way, but civilization, yes. The Geneva Convention, chamber music, Susan Sontag. Everything your country has worked so hard to aspire over the centuries, that's what we aspire to. We want to be civilized. And that little one comes,
I was going to do that
over here. Now, is that civilized? No, clearly not. Fun, but in no sense civilized. We want the essentials, dinettes, complete bedroom groups, convenient credit, even been turned down in the past. And I was like, wait, hold on. I feel like that's an allegory to something now.
I love the line where he is something like along the lines of now of course there's the nightlife and entertainment.
Oh yeah, the
New York
Broadway shows. We got to find out how to get tickets, but there's also street crime. But I believe we can watch that for free. There's some good lines in there, man. Dude, the best. You got to listen to the bathrooms or the announcers during Gremlins 2. It's just the best. Like, welcome to the men's room. Hey pal, sure hope you washed those hands. Stay tuned for Casablanca, now in full color with a happier ending. And there was my friend was like, the building is having some technical difficulties. Please try not to notice.
It's those subtleties that makes the movie freaking genius.
Yeah, man.
People just think it's silly, but come on.
I always say there's a lot of smart behind being silly.
There is.
You know, like you really got to plan that stuff out. It's like when people play, people who are like really intelligent will play like dumb characters on TV. Like it's like there's a knowledge that you have to bring to be dumb because you don't want to go like, what's like Tropic Thunder? There's gotta be some kind of element to it. So yeah, it's man. I can talk about Gremlins for days. This is good stuff.
Well, Andre, thanks a lot.
Thanks,
man.
dude.
Thank you.
Man, thank you so much. This was fun. I love this. Now I want to just make like a whole Gremlins retrospective video.
Oh, you should, dude. You do that. I will watch it for days.
Awesome, man.
I'll spread that thing around too.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks. I'm glad we got to do this.
Here's to Gremlins 3.
Gremlins 3.